Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll come back to the summit of Kilimanjaro a little bit later, but I want to begin with a little history. My co-founder, Dr. Jim Lair, and I met 40 years ago last month. Jim's doctorate is in psychology, my doctorate is in exercise physiology, and we began working with world-class athletes. So I think we began on the performance side of the equation. We were always talking to world-class athletes about mental toughness, about resilience under stress. Imagine the stress they face in thousands and thousands in an arena, millions on television. It's perform on demand, end of story. And then we had the great fortune to create the Human Performance Institute 25 years ago this year. And we've had it's been an incredible journey working with athletes still, but business. We work with the Breakers. It's so great for them to be hosting this. Thank you. You heard about that story yesterday, and Denise and I are talking tomorrow. We're doing a workshop on our change process, so I won't be going into that so much today. We also work with the FBI. We work with the special forces in the military and the field of medicine. But let's come back and let's understand the dilemma we face in life. And I'm just going to start with some data. You ready for this? This is very well-known data, and it's in almost a lot of HR journals, that most senior executives, in corporations throughout the world, are not taking vacations. They don't take it. And if they do, they take it for their families and they keep working. Now, this is really odd, because why are they in business? They're in business for one reason. Now, you can get into all the altruistic reasons to be in business and everything else, but at the end of the day, you're in business for one reason and one reason only, and that is to be profitable. So let's understand this, because now I'm preaching to the choir. You know the importance of wellness and well-being to being productive, but let's really understand the people we're trying to approach. And let's go through the data, and let's understand the real problem. So I want to begin, and I want you to experience this, all right? So we're going to start, and I want you to raise your hand if this fits you. How many of you, during the course of a typical day, you feel like you run out of time? Raise your hands. Okay, we're just gonna do this together, okay? So there's time. All right, how many of you, at the end of a typical day, you're tired? Raise your hand if you're tired. You only need to raise one hand. Now, how many of you, and we're in the industry, but we've got to really face the truth right now. How many of you, your routines tend to become weak? By that I mean, are there ever days you go longer than 4 hours without eating? Or are there ever days that you don't connect with loved ones the way you'd like to? Raise your hands. Yeah, so our actions, our routines become weak, and then you see with that, our values can become compromised. Do you know what this is for people in business and in life? My friends, this is a train wreck. Now, what's a symptom of the train wreck? Here's a symptom. Tough day at work. You walk in the door at night, and the first words out of your mouth are, "I need a drink." Now, there's nothing wrong. This is not having a glass of Cabernet with a loved one. You're saying, I need a drink. Why? I need a drug to decompress from all the stress I've had all day. What's it say to your loved ones? I need this before I deal with you. And then I've even had people push back and say, well, wait, no, I'll have them join with me, And what's another symptom of the train wreck? How many of you struggle with sleep? Sleep is a difficult issue. Sleep is hard. 30 to 40% of every audience I address struggles with sleep. You know what's fascinating? We don't look at our habits. See, people in life, they're in a hurry. We just go. So what do? We've developed the habit of, if we struggle with sleep, we go to the doctor, we get a sleep medication, knock me out, doc. Whatever it takes, doc, knock me out. This is what we've become in our cultures. So let's keep going down this path. Now, this is going to be an age-specific thing, but I'm not going to get too specific. But how many of you were in the workforce 1995 or before? Raise your hands. Okay, so about 40% of you. For those of you that just raised your hand, I'm going to make a statement, and you just enjoy this. When you left work at the end of a day, it was almost impossible to find you. Just sit back and let that settle. Think about it. Your bosses would leave messages on a machine. They know they might not get you. They'd have to have contingency plans. Those are gone. See, we're accessible 24/7, 365, and now here's the crux of this. Who's taught us how to have boundaries? Who's taught us how to be intentional? Who's taught us how to make the right choices? Who's taught us that it's healthy to take a vacation? No one. No one's taught us. We've left it. We're out there. The people in business they've developed this culture that it's nose to the grindstone, persevere, persist, end of story. I'll do this, I'll take a break when I'm done. And literally, done. So let's keep going to the heart of the matter for business. This gets to business executives. It's $2.2 trillion it's costing them. 66% of this is all peer-reviewed journal information. 66% of their employees believe that their organization could do more to encourage healthy behaviors. 88% disagree that they have substantially higher overall well-being because of their employer. Let's keep going. 65% identified work as their top source of stress. 34% reported increase in stress over the past year alone. 32% report that stress has a very strong impact on their physical and mental health. This is what business is facing. They've got to pay, they are starting to pay attention to this data, by the way. They are. But it's no wonder, with all that I've just discussed, that we have an human energy crisis. Now let's go into the biology of this. The biology. This is one of my favorite slides. Biologically, now hang in there with me, because a lot of you, that you're in the field and you're going to go, whoa, 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 when I make this statement. Hang in there until I give the comma and then finish the sentence, okay? I was a college professor for 10 years. So here's the statement. After age 30, with every decade of life, we lose 10% of our muscle capacity and 10% of our brain capacity, comma, unless we train. If we train, studies have shown that muscle fibers still expand into our 90s. If we train, studies have shown that the dendrites, the cells of the brain, continue to expand in our 90s. But we stop. We stop training. Now, by the way, you all work very hard. It's not that kind of training. You've got to do things outside your normal day to train the brain, to train physical stress on the body. I wanted a journey with my 12-year-old son to climb Kilimanjaro just 2 months ago. And we trained together. It was really cool to train with him to do this. So again, what's happened in business? What's happened? Could we just go back one second, please, to that slide? Thank you. One thing I want to say, when these lines cross, when the demand exceeds the capacity, mentally, it's a blur, it's overscheduled, overcommitted. Emotionally, impatient, irritable. Spiritually, they're on a treadmill going like crazy but feeling like they're going nowhere. Apathy, boredom can set in. So the symptoms start setting in when the demand exceeds our capacity. And yet you learned from Chris Jordan yesterday that you can expand your capacity. You can expand your capacity in any one of those 4 dimensions. Now, this is what's going on in business today. And this is where we can coach business leaders on how we, in the wellness and well-being industry, can make a difference. There's brutal accountability, intense pressure. Last year's records, this is your business too, by the way. Push to do more with less. Employees are underperforming. This is in their mind. We need more innovation, and they're overscheduled. Well, the old think was, we're just going to work harder and longer. We're going to get more technology. We'll do more. We'll train more in the area between their brains. This is old think. I care about this area right here, between your ears. I don't care about the rest of you. But see, that all changed in 1995 when we became instantly accessible 24/7, 365. Businesses today must care about the entire individual, mind, body, and spirit. We cannot. It is business 24/7 of care and empathy and, yes, love. It's an amazing situation we're facing right now. When Jim and I first started doing this 40 years ago, we'd go into a C-suite, we'd mention the word purpose. You cannot imagine the eye roll. Purpose, soft, we don't do soft training here. Today, purpose is mainstream in conversations in business. So what does sustainable high performance in business look like? Now tomorrow, Denise and I are going to talk about our change process, which really, the separating factor, the differentiator is the idea of purpose and truth and the disconnect to create change. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Today, what I want to do is just kind of talk about a little bit more of the content, follow up on what Chris Jordan did with you yesterday. Now, Chris talked yesterday about 4 dimensions: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. But I will say this, without energy, and here's a statement that really gets to leaders and gets to high performers. Here it is. Without energy management, it doesn't matter how much talent and skill you have. Did everybody follow me? If you cannot access your talent and skill on demand and under pressure, it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how skilled you are. You can't bring your talent and skill to the surface on demand. That's a problem. And when we're linear and just go, we have no chance. That's where what you all do is so key. The recapture of energy in a biological organism is critically important. See, stress is the stimulus for growth. Recovery is when growth occurs. With no recovery, there is no growth. And human beings are oscillatory creatures. We oscillate. Everything oscillates. I mean, EEG, EKG from the brain, everything, sleep, nutrition, the diet, glucose scale, everything does this. Nothing in life does this except how people work. Just go. Phone call, meeting, lunch, meeting. This is what's happened. Linearity is dysfunctional. What does it mean if an EEG or an EKG looks like this? You don't have problems anymore. So the issue becomes, what do we do? Oscillating between high positive, challenged, connected, with empathy, recovery, recapture of energy. That's high positive to low positive. That's the ideal. And recognizing when you're in a high negative state that it's dysfunctional, that you can change and get over. You can change your emotional state. So what we find is that when you manage your energy, and Denise and I are going to talk about this in greater detail tomorrow, but when you manage your energy, how would you love to be described this way? You're physically energized, emotionally connected, mentally focused, and spiritually aligned in everything that happens. How would you like your organization be described that way? This is cool. So see, when you do this, then you give yourself every opportunity in the world to become fully engaged. That's what we're trying to do. That's what great athletes do. You want to give yourself every opportunity to win, whether it's a sale, whether it's a match, whether it's a meet, whatever it is. You give yourselves every opportunity to win. And then we've got the data that show we have stronger leadership, we have improved resiliency, we have improved health, and we have higher performance. Now, does this work? You bet. I want to show you some of the data that J&J, our HR analytics team at Johnson & Johnson, we were acquired by J&J in 2008. So this is with a sample size in the thousands. Started looking and asking, so this isn't us collecting the data, this is HR analytics holding our feet to the fire. Does this work? So our CEO, Alex Gorski, has publicly announced that by 2020, he wants to have the healthiest organization in the world, globally. That's a pretty cool goal. So it's fun to work for a company that has that goal in mind. So they want to study it. Does this work? So employees are going through this training of energy management, our corporate athlete program. And this is why we have a premier executive leadership program where C-suite leaders can get one-on-one consultation with a performance coach, a dietitian, and a physical trainer to learn how to do this in their own life. See, we've got to do this for them as individuals. Because it was said today earlier, it's deeply personal. That's why we've got this premier executive leadership program, this coaching. It's deeply personal for an individual, for the team, and for the organization. It's deeply personal. Every organization has its own culture, so it has to be personalized. But health, physical activity, nutrition, life purpose behaviors, all significantly improved with a sample size in the thousands. And then also with stress management, the idea thriving, resilience, and presenteeism, again, everything significantly improved. So does this work? Yeah. But what I'd like to do now is give you an example of what I believe is well-being and resilience in action. You heard in the introduction, you saw my son and I at the summit of Kilimanjaro in August. I want to tell you what happened with my son because I believe that this is well-being and resilience. My son is 12 years old, adopted from China. He's been with me about 9 years. And you know what's interesting? We trained really hard, but we trained in all dimensions. Mentally, we actually talked about the fact that we might not make it. And we were absolutely ready that if one of us got really sick from altitude sickness or if one of us got injured, we both go down. We talked about it, we'd rehearsed it, everything. So summit night, we left at 11 o'clock. And he said, you know, we're on our way. We're doing 4,000 vertical feet overnight. It was about 7:15 in the morning. The sun had come up. It was beautiful. And all of a sudden, you got your head down. If you look up, it's discouraging. I got to tell you. You look up and all you see is going endless switchbacks into the heavens. And it just takes your heart away. So we just keep our head down and just one step at a time. But about 7:15, we're about 400 meters from the crater, and it's still several switchbacks. And I heard a lot of commotion around it, so I look up. I pause, I look up, and it's hard. You get your breath. It helps you get some breath. And they're ushering people down the mountain, people with altitude sickness. They've got them by the arms, and they're just ushering them down the mountain. And I'm going, whoa. And I turned around and looked at my son, and he was in a daze. And his name is Shen. That was his last name in Chinese. We made that his first name. I said, Shen, are you okay? And he didn't answer me. His head's down. He didn't answer me. I said, buddy, you've got to answer me. Are you okay? And this is what he does. Can't answer me. And there's a ranger watching him because there was another 12-year-old on the mountain they'd already sent down. Our guide heard me get a little stern with him, comes back and says, Shen, do you want to go back? And right there I'm going, we're done. As soon as that opening came in, we're done. And then at that moment in time, I want to step back for a second. Here's a 12-year-old child. He knew no one on this trip. This was the 6th night of this. We're camping out with people that he had only known of. He didn't know any of them, but he met them. They played cards every night. His nickname on the mountain became the Big Dog because everybody played cards with him and just had a blast with him. So now he's in this daze. The guide comes back and says, do you want to turn back? I'm like going, okay, we're done. And all of a sudden, from 400 meters above us, and if I choke up here, I apologize. But our fellow climbers had gotten ahead of us, and they came to the crater rim to see where we were. And they saw Shen stopped. And they started cheering for him and screaming for him. And I kind of joked. I said, buddy, do you want to go? And he just started walking. He just started walking, and he made it to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro at age 12. But I will tell you, this is well-being and resilience in action. He knew no one. He's 12 years old. He couldn't be coached around this. What happened was, and think about this when we talk to business leaders, in times of uncertainty, when things get really difficult, can you collaborate? Can you come around people with empathy and love and support and cheer them on? Because we all face mountains in our life. I think Kilimanjaro really is a metaphor. We all face mountains in our life. So can we do this? Can we do this together? And yes, we can. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be with all of you.